You ready, sir?
Ready whenever y'all are.
I do have one question. I'd like to ask you, how is NC State, the city of Raleigh, the fan base, and the students helping you sell what you're trying to sell to the kids?
Hey, we've got tremendous support. We've got a great fan base, best in the league. And I mean, look, you go to the home football games, it's sold out. People everywhere. The students are engaged. Everybody's following what's going on. And so that part's that part's been really exciting, and that's certainly part of the package that we're selling with NC State.
The city of Raleigh, is that helping too?
Oh, it's cool. Great area. It's an area people want to be. It's a fast-growing area, but it hasn't outgrown itself or gotten where it's so big that it's too congested. And so, yeah, it's been a fun experience learning my way around Raleigh.
Coach Wade, you and your staff were tasked with a very short amount of time to put together a very competitive roster. What were the most important characteristics that you looked for in the transfer portal or international, because you got a couple of international kids too?
The first thing we're looking for is guys who won. I think winning's a habit, and you want guys who have won, especially when you're taking over a program that hasn't really won. And so I think that is very important. And then you've got certain specific data points that you're looking at depending on positionally, and then you kind of roll it together based on, hey, we get this guy and here's what fits with this guy, then we get the second guy and this fits with these two, and then you kind of get it rolling downhill from there.
Can you talk a little bit? There's new challenges this year as well for plays. Can you talk about how your feelings are about that and how impactful that might be for your program this year?
Challenges.
Yeah, so you can challenge like out of bounds play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, I think it's a great change. I think anything, gives the coaches a little bit more jurisdiction over a few things, I think is good. And so, we certainly spent time as a staff talking about it and how to best challenge and how to best use our time, how to best use our challenges. And so, we're excited to see how it goes. But I think it'll be a good process. I think we've got a good process.
And then my last one, what do you think the biggest impact from you guys all being together at boot camp was on the team this year?
I think you get some camaraderie with the team. I think our communication gets better. Just build some bonds. Look, we were at a place, there's no cell phone service. You're in a cabin with everybody else, so you're in close quarters. I just think there's some bonds that can be built over that time, but you can't do elsewhere.
Well, there's a flux of international. This season, I think it's more than 20 former overseas players who have come to the ACC. Is this a trend that's going to continue?
I think so. Look at the new rules. You should couldn't give a guy a donut. Now you can go pay their buyout. I think that certainly the schools you're familiar with, Virginia's got some really good ones. Virginia Tech's got a great one. And so I think that look, it's just opened up a new market, and those kids, before a lot of those kids didn't necessarily want to come over here because you couldn't make money, you couldn't make as much money as you were making over there. Two, you had the amateurism issues. Now everybody, you signed that you played professionally for, you had to play professionally to play for your national team. When you play for your national team, you automatically get a year of so everybody can get a year. Everybody can get a year now. That's over there. So I think it's opened up new markets and look, when you've got a lot of schools like ours are that are academically oriented, a lot of times those international kids are pretty good students, really good students. You can get them in school. They're very appreciative of the opportunity to be here. I think they have a level of appreciation of the opportunity to be in the United States, opportunity to be in college that maybe some of our Americans don't always have. So I think that they're really good ads for most teams. I don't see the trend stopping as long as the rules and everything stays as they are.
How different is the international game? How quickly do you anticipate just being able to adjust to the college?
Yeah, I think they'll adjust. I think it's harder to adjust from the college game to the international game. And I was over at a Euro Cup game last month. I mean, I was sitting on the floor at the floor seats, and if you look at the physicality in that game, I mean, Valanciunas was playing, who's in the NBA, and he's playing against high school kids. I mean, if you look at the physicality in that game, there's not 10 high school kids that can play in that game, much less maybe 5 that can play and make an impact. And then, so I think that, and there was former ACC players in the game. There's a former SEC player in the game. I mean, those guys, I think, have a harder time adjusting to the international game than the internationals do to get there.
Coach, you've got 2 transfers specifically, Terrence and Trey, that come from some really successful programs. What was it about those 2 guys that maybe go out and target them the way that you did? And also, what have you seen from them early on that maybe have or have not surprised you that?
I think winning's a habit. We have 6 guys on our team that won NCAA tournament games last year. Terrence obviously played in the national championship. Trey played in the Elite 8. Darian, who's here with us, played in the Elite 8. And so I think Terrence is disruptor defensively. His offensive game's better than he's been able to show, and I think he's going to be able to show that for us. And Trey's somebody that was a captain at Michigan State. He's a leader. He's tough. Get in your face. He's gritty, grimy, kind of like we like it. And so I think he's somebody that brings an edge to our team, and it's somebody that the fans are going to like, and probably the rest of the league won't like so much.
Is there a particular guy on this team? You have, at least just in my own personal opinion, a very, I guess, just interesting personality in the way that you kind of get after it. You're not afraid to, you don't bite your tongue. You say, you speak out how you feel that it is. Is there someone on this team that's kind of embraced and just kind of have a very similar personality and mentality when they take the floor?
Yeah, man, I think we got a lot of guys like that. I think Holloman's like that. I think Copeland's like that. Those two are for sure like that. It's what you want. I mean, as a coach, you recruit guys that fit your personality. Sometimes you got to ask yourself in recruiting, would I rather play against this guy twice a year or be with this guy every day? You want to take the guys you're going to be with every day and you let loose the ones you don't worry about playing against twice a year. And so I think that Copeland and Holloman for sure have that edge.
You didn't have a lot of time between when the league announced it was pivoting from 20 to 18 games to then reset your non-conference. What are the games that you ended up adding because of that decision? What was your thinking that went into that?
Yeah, I think the league did a great job going from 20 to 18 games. It was a very smart move. Now, we had a little bit of a heads up that it was heading that way. So it wasn't like when it got announced that was official, but we had a pretty good heads up that it was heading towards 18 games. We added the Ole Miss game in Greensboro. I felt like what really changed for us is I wasn't anticipating our 2 permanent opponents. Our 2 permanent opponents are Wake and Virginia. I thought we'd maybe have a different permanent opponent. I'm not going to say who, but I thought we'd have a different permanent opponent. And so when that happened, it changed the arithmetic on some quad 1 and quad 2 games. And so we had to go get another game. So with our extra game, we started neutral with Ole Miss, and then we bought a high end. We bought USC. So we bought a really good American team.
Does that delve into your thinking of your schedule? If you're going to play bylaws, make sure that
you want to play teams that are going to win a bunch of games, whether that's at the moment. You want to play teams that are going to win tons of games in their league, because that's going to help their net, which in turn helps your net.
Will, you can see the defensive versatility on this roster on paper. How has that translated in practice and what you've seen so far with this group?
Great. I mean, we got 7 guys, 7 foot plus wingspan. I think we should have a top 10 or 15 defense in the country. Our biggest issue is going to be defensive rebounding. We're going to get stops. Just can't get the ball after we get the stop. But I feel good about the group we have defensively.
2 weeks ago at the first day of practice in Raleigh, you told us that your team's better than you thought after going through summer workouts. Now that you've gone through 2 weeks of practice, do you still feel that way?
Yeah, we're good. We got a good team. We're gonna win a lot of games. We got a good team.
Who's the most underrated player on this roster to this point, do you think?
How about underrated? I mean,
Yeah.
I think Paul McNeil's been really good.
That's what Darian said.
He averaged 4 points a game last year, so I'd probably, doesn't jump off the radar of many people. Averaging 4 points a game, but he's a really good player. He's going to score 4 points by the first medium, but he's a really good player, really talented player, and I think he'll have a good year for us.
What's the biggest shift you've noticed in him from earlier in the preseason to where you guys are now?
Just taking everything, I don't want to say he didn't take it seriously before, but taking everything very seriously, understanding what it means to be successful and put yourself in position to be successful. I think that the consistency of that is something that maybe he's been missing that he's there now.
Coach, you got an interesting schedule ahead of you. Obviously, you're going to Hawaii. I'm sure you're excited about that. Kansas is usually one of the better teams in the country. And obviously, you have VCU. I'm not sure. Have you played VCU since you?
Yeah, we went up there and got our ass whipped with LSU.
Okay, gotcha. Just your overall thoughts on maybe being able to get a little bit of get back against them, but obviously with a new team.
Well, I mean, look, the VCU game's a great game. They're going to be a quad 1 game, quad 2 game. They got a great program. So we thought it'd be smart to schedule them in a home and home. It's going to be a really tough game. They're picked to win the Atlantic 10. So they've got really good players. Coach Martelli did a great job. So that'll be a big game. Hawaii, Maui's one of the best tournaments. The inside of a hotel ballroom looks the same in Maui or anywhere else you are. So I don't know how much we'll see from everything else. But it's a cool tournament. And it's been the second time I've taken a team out there. We were in LSU, and so it's a cool event and a great event. And the Kansas game will be a big game. And so our fans look forward to you'll get quality non-conference games like that very often. So it's exciting.
What are the vibes you get from fans when we talked about you being very blunt? You say exactly what's on your mind. You talk about the reckoning and that kind of thing. This is a fan base that's very proud, wants a winner. I would imagine that the vibes you've been getting from them, they like you talking like this.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not for everybody. Look, I mean, I get to the office before the sun comes up, and I leave after the sun goes down, so I don't have a ton of interaction. I mean, look, I have interaction from like at the football game. I mean, everybody there is drunk and happy, right? So, of course they're gonna say good stuff. So I mean, I guess I think everybody's excited, but we got good reason to be excited. We got a good team. We got a commitment from everybody that it's time to win. And, we got a lot of work to do. Damn, the ACC can't even get our best players' picture right. You think that would happen to Duke or Carolina? Could you imagine if Duke or Carolina's first team All ACC player, first team All American didn't have their picture right? We got a lot of work to do at NC State to kind of work our way up there. We just don't have a lot of respect.
Coach,
Damn shame.
Coach, you talked about that commitment and how everybody's kind of singing 1-2. How important is it to win in year 1 compared to year 3 or 4 for you?
I mean, it's important to win every year. When we win year 1, they're going to expect us to win year 2. We win year 2, they're going to expect us to win year 3. I mean, every year it's important to win. But I do think, to your point, Charlie, I think there's, you want to get the wind behind your sails. You don't want to be sailing against the wind. You want to get the wind behind your sails and get moving. And so I think that winning in year 1 will be good, and we're going to win. So I think we'll get off to we'll be able to get off to a good start. We're excited about that. But once we win in year 1, it's not like they're like, all right, Pack won in year 1. Let's give them a pass for year 2. It's gonna be no. Let's go win in year 2. Whenever we win in year 2, it's gonna be let's go win in year 3. I mean, that's just the way it works.
How did being a student manager just shape the way you are as a coach?
I think as a student manager, we got great student managers in NC State, but I think you learn to wear a lot of hats. You kind of look at things differently. That's why I always have good former players on my staff, Vernon and Pat and those guys, because I need their perspective. Joe, He's a good player. So like I need those guys. I need those guys' perspective on things, and you know, I think that you know, just gives you a different perspective on things.
Coach, talking to Kyle Smith a little bit yesterday about just coaching in the Ivy League. Is there something about that league that sort of produces Power 5, Power 4 coaches?
Kyle's a good coach because he won at Columbia. I don't know if you know how hard it is to win at Columbia, but I think the only job in the Ivy League that's harder than Columbia is probably Dartmouth. Just because Dartmouth's Columbia and the Woods in New Hampshire. At least Columbia's in Harlem, New York. So, I mean, look, I think the Ivy League's a great league. I was actually texting with Coach Hammerker a couple weeks ago at Harvard. I think they're going to have a great team. I mean, you just hope that with the way basketball is now, that the Ivies don't just, because they've got different policies. So you just hope that they don't just go away. But it's a tremendous league. I mean, it's a coaches' league. Got to turn around quick Friday, Saturday. I don't know if you've ever made that bus ride on Friday night between Cornell and Columbia, but it's a long ride and it ain't fun. And you're not on sleeper buses. So it's a bear of a league, and a lot of really good coaches and a lot of really good programs. Everybody in the Ivy League is now invested in basketball. It used to just be Penn and Princeton. They had their hold on it, and then Cornell under Steve Donahue showed, hey, we can win in basketball too. And then Harvard got in. Now Yale's going all in, and now everybody's decided they want to be good in basketball. So it's made it a really competitive league.
You have a handful of players who are having new roles this year. You're asking them to do more. I'm sure they came here because they wanted to do more. What is that like with Trey or with Terrence or with even Musa to a certain extent? Where
I'm
they are
asking them
going
to do more. I don't agree with that. I don't think I'm asking them to do more. I think they've done what we've asked them to do in spurts. They haven't done it consistently and haven't been given the opportunity to do it consistently. Darian's done what we're asking him to do in the NCAA tournament. He's done what we asked him to do when they had problems at Houston, when they had the kid get ejected for the elbow. He's done it. He showed he could do it, but he hasn't done it for a whole season. So we're asking them to extrapolate out and do for longer stretches of time what they've showed we can do. It's not like we're hoping that they're going to be able to do this. They've shown they've been able to do it. Trey had a higher usage rate last year. He had a lowest usage rate his sophomore year, but he had better numbers, so we're hoping he can adjust to the higher usage rate that he had his junior year with the numbers back from the sophomore year, which is so far what he's done for us through practice. Terrence was a starter for Houston up until the Arizona trip, and you could argue that he won the Arizona game in the last couple of minutes, and they started somebody else at Arizona State, and that changed some of the dynamic of their team. I mean, he was a starter on a Final Four team for half the season, and a good player. So I don't think that we're asking them to do new roles. We're asking them to do roles that they've had for a longer period of time than they've been asked to do it.